Sultan Qaboos University, and my project is about the impact of an educational program on emotional intelligence to develop the higher order thinking skills of female students in Islamic education in my country. So in many years, scientific education have been keen to study and discover the factors that affect on academic performance for the students from the preschool stage to the university. The research findings have revealed a variety of these factors. Among of them, the intelligence of the students, the economic and social situation of the students, and the relationship between the students and the teacher. Among all these factors, the researcher findings related that the intelligence is not the only sufficient indicator of academic success. Only 20% can be attributed to the academic success, and leaving 18% for the others factors. This results, or this research results findings, led an American psychologist, Daniel Goleman, to publish his book about emotional intelligence, why it can matter more than IQ, which he explained the emotional intelligence component and its role of achieving in life success, as well as achievement in academic success and in the schools and universities. So Goleman noticed there are many learners with high intelligence, but their achievement in the schools or the university is modest and disappropriation to their mental abilities. Also, Goleman noticed, on the other hand, there are many others with average IQ, but their academic achievement is high due to their abilities to recognize their emotions. And also, therefore, Daniel Goleman assumed it or called it about the emotional abilities are important in education. Additionally, Goleman found the children with emotional problems often suffer from attention difficulties and poor results in school assignment. In the same context, we can see also some research findings indicating that the emotional skills are the main key to enhance the student scientific thinking. Moreover, the factors that lead to low achievement are related to emotional skills. So any educational approach that seeks to improve students' learning must solve their social and emotional problem first. So we can see here my purpose of study aims to investigate how to help female students to increase or improve their higher order thinking skills according to the Bloom's taxonomy. You know, we all know what's the Bloom taxonomy. At the fourth level, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation, by designing a program, the educational program based on emotional intelligence skills. And the study question. So the study included two questions. What is the impact of an educational program based on emotional intelligence according to Goleman's model to develop the higher order thinking skills of 10th grade female students in Islamic education? And the second one, does the impact of an educational program based in emotional intelligence according to Goleman's model differ from the different levels of the thinking for the four-level thinking, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation among 10th grade students? A quasi-experimental design of the two groups was designing for the methodology for the study, as we see here in the table. As we see here in the table, when we have here two groups, experimental group and control group. Both of the groups, they have a pre-test, which they implement the cognitive test of the higher order thinking skills. And for the treatment or for the research progress, the experimental group they have teaching. They was teaching by method based on educational program of emotional intelligence. But the control group they was taught by traditional teaching method or the command teaching method. And by the end of experimental, both group, experimental and control group, they have both test also the same test, the cognitive test of the higher order thinking skills after the end of the program. At the table 4 here we see the population. The two groups, experimental and two groups, the sample of study consisted of 137 female students were randomly distributed into groups, experimental and control group, and consist of two governors or two sectors from Muscat government and Batina South government. The experimental group consisted of 38 students, and the control group 68 students, and the control group is 69 students. Why is this wrong? This is bad. I missed on the instrumentation. So as we see here, why is this here?
It's not automatic?
Okay. So I want you to supply only the one example. So the instrumentation, there is a program of emotional intelligence program designed to explain whether, to determine whether explicit instruction could be used to help students to increase their higher order thinking skills. This program included as following: theoretical framework is included introduction and the definition of emotional component, and also the identification of higher order thinking skills, and also a general guidance for both teacher and students during the implementation the program. And also procedural framework is included all action taken by the teacher within classroom. It's included the classroom activities on behavior objective, and also included the learning resource and formative and summative assessment. An activities booklet. It's included an activities classroom which carry out by the students when they are implemented the experiment, the time required to apply it, and also the type of activities which is individual or peer or group activities, and a training bag. An integrated training package. It's included a worksheet of each session of a training, and present PowerPoint presentation, and worksheet of practical exercise. This is about the program. And for the cognitive test, there is two versions of cognitive test: a multi-able choice cognitive test of higher order thinking skills according to the Bloom's taxonomy. I prepared two versions of the test. One was implemented before the experiment to control students' level of higher order thinking skills, and the other version was used after at the end of the program to know how the program was impacted in the higher order thinking skills, and also to measurement the cognitive test, the higher order thinking skills for the students. Here the validity and reliability is not necessary because they have the time. The finding. For the research question, what is the impact of an educational program based on emotional intelligence according to the Goldman's model on developing higher order thinking skills of 10th grade students in Islamic education? Table 3, we use SPSS software to analyze the data, and we also mean standard deviation and estimated marginal means of the students in the post-test scores in the experimental and control groups. And the result, as shown here, the table. Okay. And we see here the table, the group. There are for the means there are differences between the means scores of the students in the experimental and control group in the post-test of cognitive test. In order to investigate the differences between the experimental and control group in the post-test and to isolate the differences between the two groups in the post-test, a univariate analysis of variance and COFA was used. Eta squared was also used to identify the effect size of the teaching methods. As we see here in the table, the results in the table here, as we see here, there are statistically significant differences between the experimental and control group in the means scores in the means scores of the students in the test, in the post-test, as indicated by F value. These differences are in favor to the experimental group. As we return here to the table, the revised table, these differences are in favor of the experimental group because the estimated marginal means, as we see here, the experimental group have 77 of the means comparing with the control group. Additionally, the program of emotional intelligence explain 45 of variance. For the other question, essential question 2, does the impact of an educational program based on emotional intelligence according to Goldman's model differ according to the thinking level, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation among grand 10th? To answer this question means standard deviation and estimated marginal means of student scores and the post-test were collocated. And the results are shown here, this table. As we see here, there are statistically significant differences between the two groups in the means scores of the students in each of skills, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation. There are differences in the means between the two groups. But in order to isolate and controlling the pre-test, in order to isolate the differences between the two groups in the pre-test application for each skill, univariate analysis of variance and COFA was used. Eta squared was used, collocated to identify the size effect of teaching using an educational program. At table 6, at the results, it shows here in the table 6. The results in the table 6 shows that there are also statistically significant differences between the means scores of the students, as indicated by F value. In each skills, in each 4 sub-skills of higher order thinking skills in the post-test for the students after application the program or the end of the program. As we see here, these differences are in favor for experimental group. The means here explain that the students in experimental group scored better than the student in the control group in each 4 skills. Also, the effect size partial eta squared for the experimental group is better or is high in the 4 sub-skills comparing by the control group. When you return to the table here, as we see here, the estimated marginal means is the students in the experimental group is better scored than the students in the control group. Also, the Also, they all in the sub skills for in the sub skills course, they are they both of 4 skills, they have a high MEAS scores for the students. We can see now the results of the current study reveal the impact of program based on emotional intelligence on achieving the educational goals solved by the educational institutions, especially in improving the performance of students' learning and development of their cognitive abilities. Also, therefore, it's very important to develop educational programs that help in the emotional development of the learner, like the program that are concerned with the growth technology. Besides teaching of higher order thinking skills, response to the contemporary educational trends that seek to prepare learning to acquire the requirement of technology era and scientific progress. And thank you for your listening. Thank you for your listening, and I welcome your comment and I really appreciate when you listen to me. All right.
So, last question.
What made you carry out the research only for female students and not for female and male students? Why only female?
Yeah, I know. Because our situation educational and after we have two scale of education. We have the first one is started from class 1 until class 4. In this stage of schools, they are male and female. They are teaching together. When we get in the 5th class, they separate it. Yeah, they are separated. So from 5 schools until 12, they are teaching separated. But they, when go to the university and went to the university or college, they are become together. That's why I attended to the female schools.
But
they are.
What's the idea of separated education in the middle? I know it's not about your research.
No. There are something logical or culture about the society or community. They make separated from the male and female. Avoided any problem like violence or something. But in our culture, they did parents they didn't accept it teaching male and female together.
Oh,
Yes. Okay. Any question? Thank you. Thank you.
Is there no more questions?
I have a question actually.
Yeah.
Have you combined this research with anything on neuroscience for the study of the brain?
Neuroscience,
Like the study
psychology.
of the not psychology
Yeah.
necessarily, the actual
The
brain,
actual
the
brain.
biological functions of the brain.
No, I have different variable. This is one of it, and the other one about the moral skills, moral, yeah, and the other one about the emotion objective in
Right.
Islamic emotion objective in Islamic education. I may compare between them. So my PhD, I can't graduate from PhD even I am not publish my results in conferences or
Right.
yes.
Have you personally ever looked into the functions of the brain and emotional intelligence? Like any textbooks whatsoever?
But
Because there's a huge overlap.
yeah, I know your idea. In my master degree, I study neuro-linguistic program.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, I study. So I continue my PhD in emotional intelligence. I want to combine it between my master degree and PhD students. Yeah, that's why. Thank you. I really appreciate your question.
Any more questions? No, so thank you very much for today. And now we're going to have the last paper.